So let's go ahead and talk about what it means to be operationally excellent. I have heard in the past that, a superintendent, and let me just say this, my main focus is superintendents in construction. I know how to be a project manager and project director, and I have done both of those roles. Project director was the most fun, so I know those roles. But I will sit in an office of superintendents and I'm not making fun of them, stay with me for just a second. I'll sit in an office gathering of superintendents in a company, and everybody's like this, and almost making fun of each other and joking and giggling, and like their ego, their exterior, their false sense of self, their like John Wayne persona is out in the open, and there's very little collaboration. Everything is, oh, I already knew that. I know. And it's just very disappointing to me. And then I go into a group of PMs, and they're like joking with each other in a positive way, and they're like sharing, and they're like, yeah, I messed this up the other day. And I'm like, okay. We as superintendents have got to step up as an industry. We can no longer be proud of banana peels hopping out of or falling out of our trucks. We can't be saying, oh, I don't use computers. We can't, if somebody calls us, have it say, this person's voicemail box is full and cannot take any messages. And we can't have supers with screen desktops with icons everywhere with no organization. Or last one that's my favorite, is the superintendent's walking the job with nothing in his or her hands, not taking notes, and they're like, I got it right here. We have got to stop this. And I say that with love, that my mission is to help create an image where superintendents can run with PMs and use technology with PMs and do just as good of a job as anyone else on the project site. And so I've heard I finished on time. Let me say this with passion. I don't care at all if somebody finishes on time. If they had to burn through trade partners, stay away from their families, crash land the project, or hurt somebody to do it. I don't care at all. And I am tired of people saying, well, it finished on time. I pulled it through the knot hole. Well, let me explain what Ray's talking about, the true definition of operational excellence and success. I finished on time with great quality. That means that we didn't have to rush, so we had a 3-month punch list with beautiful, and I'm going to call this beautiful safety, because people have all kinds of different words and they get tied up in knots about how you talk about safety, but with amazing safety, okay, where we met our gross profit or net profit targets, okay, and these are the important ones, where all trades won financially. Yep, I think I spelled that right. The owner is a raving fan. That is, unless they're complete Oscar Mayer wieners. Like if they're just complete jerk monkeys, like that's not what I'm saying. But if they're like reasonable human beings where the owner is a raving fan. And here's the most important two that I have to say. Where each team member met their career goals. And last one, the team had fun. Now, most people would look at me and be like, Jason, you're smoking something. And I've actually had people on YouTube be like, Jason, this proves that you've never had field experience. The funny thing is, I actually didn't go to college. I did not come out as a consultant. I've been in the field for 30 years, running work. And all of these are possible. And one thing that I want to talk about to change the mindset, have you ever heard of the Holy Trinity of construction, where you have cost, quality, and schedule? And you've heard somebody say, pick two. Actually, that only works in classical management systems. In lean management systems, you can't have one without all three. And let me explain that real quick with you. The better you focus on quality in a lean system, the faster you go and the less money you spend on rework, right? The more stable your schedule is actually how fast you go, the better you're able to take care of quality and the more money you make. There is no such thing as a win-lose in lean thinking, okay? Let me go ahead and explain that just real quick. There is only a win, and I'm not going to drone on too long. I'm just really passionate about this topic. I'll get to the point here real quickly. But there's a win-win or there's a lose-lose. There is no such thing as a win-lose. Let me explain what I mean. Let's take your marriage, for example. Let's say that you are winning in your marriage and have what you want, but your spouse doesn't. How long is that going to last? How long until that becomes a lose-lose? Let's say you're getting everything you need as a contractor, change orders, money, but your owner isn't getting what they want. How long is that going to stay a win-lose? How long until it becomes a lose-lose? There are no win-lose situations. So there's only win-wins. And so when it comes to operational excellence, to Ray's point, there's only in lean such a thing as a win-win-win. When we do well with quality, we go fast and make money. When we flow in our schedule, we do good quality and we make money. The real way to make money is the lean way, even though it looks counterintuitive. So that is the definition of a project well done. Now, let me show you something more specific. So if a project is running safe, then everyone on the job site knows how to be safe in their tasks. Everyone knows what they are installing because they had a great quality pre-construction meeting. Everyone makes improvements daily to their work because the environment is clean, safe, and organized. The bathrooms are clean, which sets the culture for the project site. The job site team are good neighbors. Nothing hits the floor. Now everybody can produce and do their work. Materials are not in people's way. They come just in time. Cords are off the floor and managed so that you have good access through your access ways. Everything's on wheels so that things move properly through those access ways. All access ways are clear. You don't stage in them. And everything's clean and organized. And contractors, instead of being pushed on top of each other, are pulled behind each other. And the way, and I think you're going to like this, the way that we get this done is by making sure that we start with a good pre-construction plan. And so we need the following at a minimum, to run a project in an operationally excellent way. That means a full macro level and norm level, or at least the beginnings of a norm level TAC plan, which is created by a pull plan. We'll talk about that in a minute. A complete organization, or rather accountability chart for the team, having the right staff. An amazingly operational procurement log that was created early on to queue up the supply chain, a risk and opportunity register to make sure that you know your risks and you have a plan to overcome them, an active logistics plan so you can maintain and operate the site, a well-established budget that considers your general conditions and general requirements durations according to the TAC plan, great trailer and signage design. Now, you might think that's funny, but we have to have the right visuals in order for this to work. I'll show you that in a minute. And then a team that has experience and loves working together. And actually, let me just go ahead and do one quick thing that I think you'll really like when it comes to signage. When you hear the term set up your trailers, I want you to know this quote. People talk about what they can see. Let me say it one more time. People talk about what they can see. Just in case it didn't land, one more time. People talk about what they see. And so if you have a baby poop brown, nasty, dusty, all the corners are filled, no organization trailer that nobody enjoys being in, then you will not have good interaction systems. And here's the key. You can't manage what you can't measure. Everybody's heard that quote, but you can't measure what you can't see. Let me say that again. You can't manage what you can't measure. And that's what people typically know. But the rest of the quote goes like this, but you can't measure what you can't see. And so we have got to have beautiful interaction spaces where you can build your team with the right team boards, and then beautiful visuals so that you and your trade partners can mark roadblocks on the boards. Screens that are on the front of the trailer that your PM didn't tell you didn't have a budget for. And then solving boards where you can put things visually on the board, and then obviously areas where you can do pull planning and look ahead planning. And then, not now, but one of these days in the field, we will have worker huddle boards, area boards on every floor, and each crew will have the information to know exactly where they're supposed to be so that we can get improvement at that level. And so I hope that really summarizes it for us. Operational excellence means that we are hitting our goals, and that everybody on the project site is enabled, and we have enabled that through proper planning of the project. And the last thing I'll say before I go back is that I want to point to something, but before I do, where do all of these systems point? There's arrows that point from each system. Where do they point? They all point to the trade partners and the foreman. That is where value is received. Everything, all of us on this call are necessary but non-value add overhead or indirect costs. We're needed to build a project, but we're actually not putting up drywall. We are not finishing concrete. We are not drilling caissons. These people, the foremen, are the heroes. These are the ones that we should optimize. And so the planning should get everything that the foreman needs when they need it. The production system should get the trade partners what they need when they need it. The collaboration should get the trade partners what they need when they need it. Every last single thing in this system points to the foreman. So operational excellence means that foremen can do their work in their work package in a zone successfully and plan, build, finish, move on. We just covered operational excellence and the definition of project success and a lean project. Okay. So one of the things I decided, by the way, I did some prep in the background. I want you to see me actually do this. So this might take just a second, but if you don't see me do this, then it could hurt us in the future. So I'm going to take these notes and I'm going to copy them in, and I'm going to show you where I'm going to put them. I'm going to start putting these up here to the right. So this was your item. And I want to show you how this other thing works as well. That when if we cover something like the lean project behaviors, all I have to do is hit share and download and PNG file. And once that downloads over here, I'll have that in my downloads. Okay. So this can come over. And the reason I'm showing you that is that anything you see on my screen, when you ask me if you want to grab it, all I have to do is pull it right over here and you have that. And then you saw me one other time on this last segment covering key visual down here, which was this one. So I'll just hit Control C to copy it, because I'm not going to leave the book in here. It's better. I'm not going to leave this in here on the board. I'm going to actually encourage you to buy the book, and I'll tell you why. Because we constantly do updates, and I can't have this be stagnant and spreading around the industry. It's got to continually be updated. So that's the only reason I'm a little bit finicky about that. But once we covered these items, now they're in here in your board, and you'll have this forever. So I just wanted to let you know that we covered that first topic of yours. Check, check, check. Your items here are there, and you can keep asking me for items.